Hi, it's Jan from YouMakeItSimple.com. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use transfer paper without having to flip or mirror the image. Let's get right into it. When you're getting an image ready for an iron-on transfer, most likely before you print it out, you have to mirror or flip the image. Not all printers have that capability, and it can be so frustrating. You're trying to flip your PDF or your image and you don't have the software, you don't have Photoshop or anything that has that capability. And so what do? One of my followers has let me in on a little workaround that makes it so that you don't have to use any software or flip the image if your printer can't. Make sure you're watching the whole video because I'm going to show you at the end a few other tips for using transfer paper that might be helpful. I have a tutorial showing you how to make these cute tags, these labels for your sewing projects. It's a fun way to just customize your projects, but not everyone has a printer that you can flip images on, and it can be really frustrating. So I wanted to let you know about this as soon as possible. You can watch this tutorial on my channel, and I give the links for the PDF in there. So the trick is in the transfer paper. There are two types of transfer paper. One to use on dark fabrics and one for light colored fabrics. The procedure and the process is totally different. So one thing to mention is that you want to make sure when you're purchasing your transfer paper that you're buying the correct kind of transfer paper for your printer. Make sure that on the instructions it'll say on the back for inkjet printer or laser printer. There are sheets for both. So this is for an inkjet printer. When you use the paper for the light colored fabric, you need to print the labels so they're flipped and they're mirror imaged. So on this particular label page, as you can see, the J is flipped. So it's when we press it, when we flip it over and press it on the fabric, it is then readable and flipped so that you can read it. When you use dark transfer paper sheets, you do not flip the image. You print it out as you would any other document so it's legible and readable, and instead of flipping it over and pressing it, you just apply it like this. I'll show you all this in just a second. Let's go over how to use the dark fabric sheets. I'll show you the process. When you use the dark fabric transfer sheets, whatever is white on the document or the image is going to be white on the paper. So as you can see, we just iron on the whole thing. So if you don't, like on this particular tag, I do like having a little white square, but what if you didn't want to have that white showing? Like if you have an image and it has a white border, or the white part will still show. If you don't want that to show around the edge, trim that off and then iron it on. In preparation for your application, you want to turn off the steam setting. No water, no steam. So make sure we're using a dry iron. I'm not using an ironing board that's too soft. You want a very firm surface. So this is just a cotton flannel pillowcase that I'm putting down on my desk here, my table. You want it to be really a firm surface. I have put down my white sheet of fabric. This is just an upcycled cotton pillowcase that I'm going to use for my labels. So I have printed out my sheet. Another important thing to mention is that once you print it, you want to wait 30 minutes before you apply it with the iron. I'm now going to peel off the back sheet. I'm going to just apply it where I want to on the t-shirt or your fabric. Now, no worries. You can sit and arrange it. It's not going to stick. And cover it with parchment paper that comes with your sheets. And this is reusable. You can use it over and over. Make sure it's totally covering the label. My iron is on the hot setting, the cotton setting or linen setting. And I'm going to apply just slow, firm pressure. And they recommend that you use about 20 seconds per area. I'm not just gliding it lightly. I'm applying some firm pressure. Just slowly go back and forth. Make sure you're getting the edges really well. I'm going to let that cool with the parchment paper on top. While we're waiting for that to cool, I'm going to show you what it looks like to use the light colored transfer paper that you have to flip. So instead of putting it like this upright, you flip it over. But that's only if you have mirror imaged the document and the paper. So I would put that face down and press it. And this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like using the light color transfer paper on white and then on dark. On white, you're not going to see this plasticky film. The image that's printed on the dark t-shirt transfer paper is just a little bit more crisp and dark than this type. As you can see, this fabric will start to fray a little bit. I give some tips in my tutorial on different ways that you can, different things you can do to keep that from fraying using interfacing and things that work really well. Or all you would do is, what I do is just use a white zigzag stitch around that border when I'm applying it to my project. So if you have questions about this, make sure you send me a note. I do have the link. I'll put the link in the description below for the PDF pattern and the other video tutorial. Let me just show you real quick how you would use this on a strip of ribbon if you wanted to make tags out of a ribbon. So this is a sheet that I haven't peeled the backing off yet. Cut out whatever you want to iron on. Cut it to the size of the ribbon and then peel off the backing. You'll put it on your ribbon and then don't forget the parchment paper. Let it cool for just a minute or so. This is just a silk ribbon, just a polyester actually ribbon that make really nice tags. So let's go over some more tips and recommendations while you're using transfer paper. Make sure you're using the correct printer for the type of transfer sheets that you're using. I'll put some links in the description below of the transfer paper that I've had good luck with. No steam or water on your iron. Make sure you're using a hard, flat surface and just a piece of fabric on top of that. Before you iron the transfer onto your shirt or your fabric, make sure that the cloth underneath and the item that you're transferring the fabric is pressed and there's no wrinkles or lint. Let the parchment cool before you remove it from your transfer. And you can wash these items. These are washable. Use a cold setting. They can go in the dryer. If you do need to press your transfer after you launder it, use a piece of parchment paper or else it will just melt it. So there you have it. Such a fun way to customize your projects, and you don't have to mirror or flip the image. It can be so frustrating when you have a printer that won't do it, but you still can. Thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. Make sure you're subscribing to the channel. I would love to see the projects you make. If you want to go to my Instagram, it's You Make It Simple on Instagram, and tag your items that you make. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.